So lately I've seen a lot of Bhaalgorns, and that made me curious to know what's going on. Why did this ship become so popular? And I asked around, and I have been told that the Bhaalgorn became one of the best ships when it comes to AI, AFK, high-sec PvE. So I was curious, and I decided to check this ship out for myself. Now, the Bhaalgorn is very similar to the Ashimu. It used to be very good and used to have a very special place, but after all the updates, implants and stuff, the Bhaalgorn seemed like it became downgraded only for PvE. Although, of course, you can make it work for PvP as well, but for some reason, well, I mean, I say for some reason, I'm fairly sure I know why this ship is so popular when it comes to PvE. Now, when it comes to the stats, it's still the same good old Bhaalgorn that we all know and love. It can do a shield or armor tank, of course. I mean, I personally prefer armor tank on this thing, but it can do both. It is a trait that Blood Raiders can effectively do because of how the ship works with Nosferatus and, things like that. So, I'm using pulse lasers, and this is my older PvE setup that I have been using. Now, I have 3 Nosferatus and dual webs, 3 heatsinks, a adaptive harden, and a armor repair. As to the rigs, I have DPS rigs, laser burst aerators, and capacitor rigs in the engineering rig slots. Now, when it comes to implants, this thing can use the focus crystal and the pulse crystal. Both work in a very similar way, and the implants have been tampered with. The focus crystal keeps getting nerfed. The pulse crystal was buffed or nerfed. I kinda lost track of what's been happening, but I know the focus crystal did receive a couple of nerfs in the past. And with this ship, you can easily use both. If you have the focus crystal, that's going to work really well. If you have the pulse crystal, that's also going to work really well. The main difference is in the way how the implants work. Pulse crystal increases your capacitor usage, but it does give you a instant DPS boost, while the pulse crystal does give you a instant DPS, but the focus crystal does have to be charged, and you can lose the DPS if you miss the target. So both of them are definitely, they have their drawbacks, but both are very, very strong. Of course, the focus crystal has lost most of its DPS since the original release. Used to be very powerful. Now it's still good, but nowhere near what it used to be. And let me show you the maximum DPS with the pulse crystal. With the focus crystal, I have to shoot at stuff, and you can't really charge it anymore on the station. That's been changed. 6.8 thousand DPS. Okay, with one heatsink active. 8.3 thousand DPS with second heatsink active. 9.9 thousand DPS, and with the third one we have 11,047.91 DPS. This is instant DPS basically, and honestly it looks pretty good. That's some solid DPS that we see on the Bhaalgorn. Of course, the capacitor will be significantly reduced, no longer cap stable, although it's not a big issue since you have 3 Nosferatus, and 3 Nosferatus are more than capable to resupply your ship with capacitor, and with this ship the Nosferatus work really, really well. Now, usually the AFK AI Bhaalgorns that I've seen use dual Nosferatus and triple webs. That extra web is good when you have to hit those smaller, faster, elite ships, and I actually recommend that you go with a third web, dual webs and 3 Nosferatus when you're playing more actively. When you go AFK, 3 or even 4 webs might be the way to go. This ship is pretty capacitor stable by default, and it does have some pretty nasty DPS to go along with it. I mean, I'm very surprised. It does seem like it has a bit more DPS than it used to, although I don't remember many major change. Maybe they did change it recently, I just forgot, but it does seem that it has a bit more DPS than it used to, and that's, I guess, one notable change. Now, for the general units, you are basically free to put whatever you like, but In this case, if you want DPS, then go with heatsinks, and in the case of the Bhaalgorn, the Nosferatu output boost is also a very good general unit. Basically, it will enhance the Nosferatu performance even more, and the ship will draw even more power from the enemies. So that's also one very good thing that you can have on this ship. Although heatsinks are also important if you want to increase the DPS. Alright, well, yeah, 3.5 thousand, and I'll just add a third web. Dual webs are fine, but you know, 3 webs are, I would say, safe when it comes to AFK stuff. You definitely don't want to be caught and being unable to basically warp out. And also, a fun fact, I've killed so many Bhaalgorns recently, and that was also one of the things why I got curious to see what the ship can do with the PvE high sec build. Now for the nano core, I'll be using the sleeper core because I don't have any other core for this ship available. But you can use any other nano core that you have. All of them are nice. I mean, this ship has a lot of nano cores, so you have plenty to choose from. And if you have been flying the Bhaalgorn for a while, you probably have a bunch of the nano cores. I like the heaven nano core. It looks nice. Nice camouflage pattern on the Bhaalgorn, that's for sure. But yeah, you can literally use any nano core that you want, and it will work just fine with the Bhaalgorn. It's honestly a player preference at this point. You can use the core you like and the core that is, I guess, most leveled up. So, how does this thing work, and how quickly does it slap? Now, it's been a while since I played Bhaalgorn. It's been a while since I actually tested this ship out when it comes to the PvE performance. But I've heard many good things when it comes to PvE for this ship. I've heard that for AFK, as I mentioned before, it's one of the better ships. And I can see the reason why. I mean, it has a lot of webs, has a bonus on webs, has overall good DPS, and it has a fantastic capacitor. So, while the PvP use for the Bhaalgorn has been drastically reduced nowadays, it is a PvE monster, and I guess the Blood Raiders have received a shift in general use. I mean, the Ashram became really good for the Cobalt Edge and Cabal Expand stuff. The Bhaalgorn became really good for AFK AI stuff, so I guess in the end the ships are still useful for something, but if you want to do PvP with these ships, then you probably want to have some fancy Death Wish and cores that are higher level up, and you know, you want to have a lot of points so that you are able to hold the target with the 1 or 2 points you'll have, since a Blood Raider isn't a Blood Raider if it doesn't have at least 1 Nosferatu, 1 web, or 1 neutralizer. After all, these ships are meant to be used with Evor modules, so yeah, if you want to fly something with scrammers and webs only, then you know, you have the Macarial Vindicator and things like that. The Bhaalgorn and Blood Raiders in general have, you know, their special, I guess not speciality in that word, but it's not a Blood Raider if it doesn't have electronic warfare modules. That's the joy in flying these ships, being able to completely control the field with webs, being able to completely drain the enemy's capacitor and slowly kill it is the main joy of flying Blood Raiders in general in the grand scale. And you know, if you use the generic build with scrammers and on webs and points, then yeah, that's no longer a Blood Raider ship in my eyes. That's just the average Macarial or the average Vindicator. These ships had, I guess, their unique personality, and they still do have that, but it's not as effective as it used to be. Anyway, this thing slaps though. I mean, lasers have always been very nice, and I used to have lasers maxed out. Now, I actually skilled out of lasers a while ago to basically enhance my other skills, but I mean, this thing slaps. Let's be 100% honest here. The Bhaalgorn slaps. I have absolutely no complaints about the alpha damage from this thing. Even back in the day when I used to fly this thing, I was very happy with the amount of damage that it was doing. It had some very good alpha damage, it still has, and the damage has been improved with the implant. So when it comes to alpha damage, when it comes to overall DPS, it is a really nice ship. And honestly, it does feel different from last time I used it. Has definitely a different feel. And 12,700.65 DPS with the focused crystal implant, with of course going full speed with all heatsinks. Surprisingly, it has more DPS with focused crystal than it has with pulse crystal. Up until recently, that was actually the opposite. The pulse crystal did have more DPS than the focus crystal. So maybe it's just a unique moment with the Bhaalgorn. Maybe they changed the implants again. Again, there's just so many updates recently. I honestly forgot what they did. So if anyone knows if they changed the DPS output on one of these implants, then please tell me in the comments, because I honestly forgot, and my apologies for forgetting that. I mean, so many updates, so many things happening and going on. It's very easy to forget stuff, and I guess I'm getting old for sure. Anyway, that was quick. That was actually shockingly fast, impressively fast. Actually, I can definitely see why players started to prefer the Bhaalgorn. It all makes sense now. Anyway, let's do the pulse crystal now, and let me just quickly change the implant real quick. So that was the focus crystal. The pulse crystal is next. Alrighty then. And that means, what am I doing? Yeah, I'm sleepy. My apologies for that. I was trying to find the mission in the implant menu. Yeah, I'm sleeping, obviously. Anyway, let's undock this thing and let's see how... Oh my god. Yeah, you know I'm sleep deprived when I accidentally leave ship while trying to undock. GG. Where's the Bhaalgorn again? Oh my god, yeah. Let's just ignore that this never happened. I never clicked leave ship instead of undock. This is the first time I actually done that, actually. I think that's the first time I've done that. That's what happens when... That's what happens when you spend the whole night watching some weep stuff, and then you binge watch a whole season, and then you pull an all-nighter, and then you try to record a video. Not a very good combination, at least for me. Used to be able to be up all day, and I used to be able to stay awake for a whole week. Now I struggle 12 hours. I struggle 12 hours to be up. Anyway, let's see how the pulse crystal implant will work. So the main difference is the instant DPS boost that you get from the pulse crystal, which technically should make the clear time a bit faster, since the pulse crystal has to be charged, and then you also can miss with the pulse crystal. With the focus crystal, that is, with the pulse crystal, you just have instant DPS, and in theory, it should mean that I will clear this a bit faster. Of course, we have to find that out and just start the missions. You know, this is only a high sec build. I would not be using this in low sec or null sec. It's not a good idea. Only a high sec AI PvE Bhaalgorn should have, you know, this build. For null sec and low sec, more tank is definitely recommended. But you know, if you encounter a glass Macarial, for example, that's going to be you're gonna have a bad day with that, because a glass Macarial just eats the Bhaalgorn for breakfast quite easily. It's very tough to tank Macarials, and the Macarial video is next. That's the next video after this one, since you guys have requested that I try out the Macarial again. Maybe they changed something again with the implants. That's one thing I have to find out, and I'll be more than happy to find out to see if there is any major change when it comes to the Macarial. After all, I do fly that ship almost, well, not daily, sometimes. I haven't been flying the Macarial in a while, I believe, in more than a week from now. mostly because I've been stuck with the Tempest fleet and honestly didn't feel like flying the Macarial, but maybe I'll fly that thing again. Who knows? I mean, I'm kind of trying to sell my navies, and obviously no one wants to buy them for some reason, even though they're good ships. Good ships, very tanky, very good for what they have been designed to be doing, and so far I have been very happy with my navies. But I need ISK, and I kind of want to try a new build, try some new things out, and for that I need new ships. And until I sell my navies, I'm not able to build any new ship. I mean, I can build a new ship easily, but I don't want to have a big impact on my E-squads just now, because I'm still kind of expecting new ships to be added. So I've been pretty careful with what I'm doing with my ISK wallet. I also been thinking about getting a Bhaalgorn again, but I don't know. I mean, it's not going to be able to hold anything. Everything will have million stabs. Maybe if I get lucky, I'll get one or two like dummies or ravens that have no stats, but I'm not buying a 5 billion ship to fight, you know, to fight like 200 million battleships, 200 million battleships. Maybe if I decide to camp again, maybe I will be using the Bhaalgorn, but I don't feel like the Bhaalgorn will do as much of a good job as the Tempest fleet because of the way the Tempest fleet works. I mean, that thing is just nasty. Or the Megatron Navy. We'll have to come up with something with this ship if I decide to take one out again, but most likely going to be saving up ISK for the new ships that are hopefully in the works by now. Well, obviously I'm not talking about Titans, but yeah, new cruisers, new frigates, stuff like that. Active. And yeah, I think I was right with the being able to clear stuff faster with this implant. That was very fast. I'm actually impressed by how quickly this thing clears. How quickly this thing cleared just these anomalies, these missions. I mean, I definitely understand why players started to fly the Bhaalgorn so often and so actively. It is a very good ship. It remains a very decent ship. It's just that implants and the updates, the recent updates, haven't been treating Blood Raiders that well in general. I mean, when I say they have been treated well, it's obvious that older ships have gained a much larger, well, not exactly buff, but they have gained much more performance. Older ships gain much more performance than the Blood Raiders with the new implants and with all the new stuff. And honestly, if you have been flying Blood Raiders for more than 2 years, 3 years, you probably notice the same thing. You can make them good, but the way how the glass DPS race works, you will probably lose the DPS race with these ships, and they are already kind of not that tanky to begin with. They don't really have that much DPS to begin with if we compare them to other ships. Not low DPS, but if we compare the Bhaalgorn to a Macarial, for example, or Vindicator, you will notice a huge difference in the total DPS output of the ship. And in DPS race, that's basically going to pull the victory. And Blood Raiders are designed to kill slowly. They're designed to kill the target by stripping off their capacitor and completely controlling the battle. And you know, that is a bit difficult to do with one-click escape cores and, you know, things like that. But anyway, with that being said, that was a little short. Well, not exactly short, but that was a little run with the Bhaalgorn. Definitely a very nice ship. Fun to fly, still fun to fly for sure. And I'm going to be spending maybe the next day or two deciding if I want to buy one again. But with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed. If you would like to support me, feel free to like and subscribe. And well, with that being said, stay safe, fly safe, and as always, I'll see you next time.